Long ago, in a land where the desert stretched endlessly under a burning sun, two travelers set out on a long journey. Though they walked the same path, they were entirely different in nature. One was known for his boundless generosity, while the other was famous among his people for his unyielding miserliness. For days they marched across the golden sands, sharing the same heat, the same thirst, and the same horizon that never seemed to draw closer. Their supplies grew lighter each day, their feet heavier, until at last, a dark green line appeared far ahead, the beginning of a vast forest marking the outskirts of a great city. As they approached the trees, the generous man pointed toward a massive old oak whose branches spread wide enough to shade a small caravan. "Let's rest here tonight," he suggested. "Entering the city at night is risky. We'll go in tomorrow with fresh strength." The miser agreed reluctantly. The shade felt like a blessing after the long and merciless heat. They sat beneath the tree, and the generous man opened his pack. "We'll eat from my food today," he said with a warm smile. "Tonight you'll offer yours, and thus we'll be even." The miser nodded, pretending to be content, but inside his mind swirled with worry. What if the journey stretches longer than expected? What if my food runs out? How can I trust fate, or even him, when survival is at stake? When night arrived and the sky turned black except for a band of crimson on the horizon, the miser made his choice. While the generous man slept lightly, the miser crept away, devoured his entire supply alone in the dark, and returned quietly as though nothing had happened. But the generous man was not fooled. He saw the crumbs, smelled the food, and understood the betrayal. Saying nothing, he decided to part ways at once. Near midnight, while the miser slept soundlessly, the generous man rose, tightened his sandals, and walked alone through the darkness until he found a ruined stone mill deep in the forest. "This will be my shelter," he told himself. "When dawn comes, God will guide my next steps." He climbed to an upper room of the abandoned mill, intending to rest briefly. But before he could close his eyes, he heard the rumble of footsteps, heavy, wild, and growing nearer. Then, to his terror, beasts began entering the mill one after another. First came the lion, his mane glowing in the moonlight. Then the tiger, the leopard, the hyena, the fox, and the wolf. They gathered in a perfect circle as though attending a council meeting. The lion stepped forward and spoke in a deep, commanding voice. "Peace upon you, creatures of the forest. Welcome to our monthly gathering." The generous man froze, holding his breath. One wrong move, and he would not live to see the sunrise. The lion continued, "I have reviewed your reports, and I commend each of you for your diligence. Now, speak of your regions. Tell me what requires our attention." The tiger spoke first. "In my territory lives a strange little mouse who owns 100 gold coins. Every morning at sunrise, he brings the coins out one by one, leaves them in the sun for an hour, then takes them back. I do not understand his behavior." Then the leopard stepped forward. "In my area, there is a human king, wise, respected, adored by his people. Yet his daughter suffers from an illness no physician can cure. Her remedy lies in the egg of a peculiar chicken owned by a poor farmer." Next, the hyena said, "I watch over a towering tree whose branches reach the clouds. It never bears fruit, for beneath it lies a vast treasure buried deeper than any roots." The fox complained, "Humans have built fences separating us from their chickens. Our young are starving, and fruit alone cannot sustain them." Finally, the wolf growled, "In my territory, humans have increased their hunting. Our creatures cry out for justice." The meeting lasted until first light. As the sun broke through the cracks in the mill, the animals dispersed silently into the forest. Only then did the generous man dare to breathe. When they were gone, he climbed down and hurried to the mouse's hiding place. Everything was exactly as the tiger described. When the mouse appeared with its daily gold coins, the man tossed a small stone to scare it away, gathered the coins, and rushed off toward the poor farmer mentioned by the leopard. There he found the odd-looking chicken. "Sell it to me," he told the farmer, offering 10 gold coins. The farmer nearly fainted from shock. 10 gold coins for a chicken worth almost nothing. Naturally, he agreed. The generous man walked far from the village, waited until the chicken laid an egg, took it carefully, and traveled straight to the king's palace. When he was granted audience, he said, "I have heard of the princess's illness. If you allow me to try a remedy, I may be able to help her." The king replied sternly, "If you cure her, she shall be your wife. But if you fail, your life is the price." The man accepted, on one condition: he must treat her alone. Inside her chamber, he found the princess pale and frail as moonlight. He prayed quietly, opened the egg, dipped a cloth into its contents, and gently applied it to her skin. Within moments, she stirred. After a second treatment, her eyelids fluttered open. After the third, she whispered her first words in weeks. After the fourth, she stood up, completely healed. Joy overwhelmed the king. He married his daughter to the generous man and ordered a grand celebration throughout the city. The next morning, the generous man approached the king again. "In your lands," he said, "there stands a mighty tree. Beneath it lies a treasure beyond measure. Send your soldiers with me, and I will show them." The king did so. After hours of digging, the treasure was uncovered: chests full of jewels, gold, and ancient riches. The generous man kept only a small share and distributed the rest among the workers and the city's poor. Days later, while walking through the city, he encountered his old companion, the miser. The generous man welcomed him warmly and offered help, but the miser demanded first to know the entire story. When he heard it, greed flared within him like a flame fed by oil. That very night, he ran to the old mill, hoping to overhear the beasts again. But fate had changed. At the monthly gathering, the wolf spoke angrily. "Great king of the forest, how can we share our secrets when everything we reported last month was stolen or exposed? The mouse's gold is gone, the magical chicken was sold, the treasure beneath the tree unearthed. Someone is spying on us." The lion roared. "Search the mill." The animals scattered through the ruins until they found the miser trembling in a corner. In an instant, they lunged at him. He escaped by sheer luck, but not without deep wounds that marked him for the rest of his days. And so, the generous man continued living in comfort and honor beside his wife in the royal palace, while the miser learned too late that greed devours only the one who feeds it. If you like the story, don't forget to support us by subscribing. Every new story starts with a click from you.